World champion, monthly champion over and over and over again, and a guy who needs no introduction. Today, we are doing the best of Mohamed Light. We have the GO.A.T on the line here today. Mo, I'm really excited to have you here and can't wait to break down some of your hand-picked favorite games of your career.
Hello, Rich. Thanks for having me on. I'm very excited to share my thoughts and like my feelings through these moments because these were certainly one of my favorite matches of my career.
Well, I'm really excited, so let's get on into it. Before we get started, I want to take a moment and thank Warcraft Rumble, today's sponsor, for making this video possible. I've played every game in the Warcraft universe, and finally, there's an experience built from the ground up for mobile players. If you like PvE, the depth is tremendous with dungeons, raids, and new rotating challenges that make you use your best strategies to come up with ways to beat it. On the PvP side, the action is fast-paced, with players around the world competing to be the best on the planet. Give the game a try. There's a link in the description below. You can try the game out for free, give it a download, and check out my other channel, also linked, so you can see some cool, fun Warcraft Rumble content. All right, back to the video. All right, so here we are with the first game that you picked, and I was kind of surprised that you picked two games from this year, and this one is from the first monthly final of the year, your matchup against Adriel. And I know that you obviously have some history with Adriel from World Finals in 2023. Talk to me a bit about the situation you found yourself in with this matchup, especially having just come from a drill mirror match.
Okay, so this match for me it was very important because since it was the first month of the year. And after knowing that there will be only 8 players at World Finals, so it will certainly be quite difficult to qualify. And at that time, I didn't have a golden ticket, of course, so it was pretty important to try to win. Especially, I needed to win two best of threes. Uh, so after I had won the Germany matchup, I was feeling pretty confident because like I was happy because I think I had the correct game plan in that matchup and I was able to win. So I picked this game too as one of my favorite matches because it was a very difficult matchup and yeah, as I said, the previous things I said, this was very important to win, get this golden ticket and just be secured, qualified world finals. So when I uh, when I won at the very end, I was very, very happy because I also had Josie as my coach, and I had left Jibus, my other coach. This was like our first major event together, so it was an amazing feeling all around.
And of course, you and Julesy have had a pretty solid year this year. 3 for 4 on monthly finals with a second place most recently to Lucas, which was a fun one. We really enjoyed watching that matchup. Back to this one, we were all a little surprised to see you go Goblin Giant here, especially kind of maybe giving Adriel a taste of his own medicine from your World Finals matchup. Talk to me a bit about the deck choice going into this game too.
Oh yes, I remember a bit why we picked this deck in particular. Well, of course, we did not expect them to go hog with log burn when they used log in the game one. But he put Evil Zap in the hog, so he kind of surprised us because it also worked out a lot in his favor. He had Evil Zap from my Evil Bats and even Fire Spirit. So, well, we played this deck to cover other like beatdown heavy decks and some RG and stuff like that. So I guess he caught us.
Sure, and I do see some of the challenges you have here. The bomb tower, great for control, as you mentioned. The Evo Zap and the Fire Spirit for the bats, and then of course the monk in response to the Little Prince was phenomenal. So here we are with going into sudden death overtime, and things are pretty even. How are you feeling about the match at this stage in the game?
Yes, well, and at this point, I was telling Jules that he should start thinking about the game three deck because I was almost certain that I would lose. So yeah, I was not feeling very confident to be honest. I thought I would lose like for sure, but yeah, I won in the end, so I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I mean, especially that hog hit getting taken, 90 seconds left, and you're down significantly. You know, it's about 800 HP difference. What are you kind of thinking at this stage, as far as how are you already past? I mean, obviously you came back and won this one, so talk to me about kind of how you're processing what you're trying to decide to do here.
Yes, well, even though it's not a very good situation for me, but I still need to, concentrate and focus on not just, cry about it, say, oh no, I got hard counter, what am I gonna do now? No, you cannot think like that. You have to always believe that you can win no matter what the matchup is, who your opponent is. So that's how I was thinking. I was like, okay, then I can cry later, but I should not be upset about it in the moment.
And this is interesting, where the knight kind of escapes, and he puts this almost panic bomb tower here, and this is going to mean a lot of pressure. And I see you going with tremendous pressure here, and you get a really key hit. Was this? Did you feel lucky here, or was this? You know, I know. So you were like really getting crazy at the bridge. Talk to me about this finish.
Yes, well, I did get very lucky at the end there. He missed his guards. I think that was a bit of nerves on his end. And if you notice my arrows, it was kind of panic arrows, but they hit his firecracker. That's why I smiled a bit. So I got very lucky at the end for sure, and yeah, I was very happy.
Yeah, you see the guards missing the guardian there, and then the arrows. Yeah, that firecracker trying to pick things up and not able to do it. So an absolute steal in this one. So, you know, I was curious about this. Obviously, it's a really exciting finish that you have here, and I know I can see. I loved your reaction watching your face watching this video back. So, when you're talking about the ones that you wanted to pick, did you pick this one because of what it meant for you this year, or what were some of the reasons why you put this in your top three?
Yes, this competition came right after what I consider, to not be a very successful World Finals run last year. So I first wanted to, prove myself again, and he's also the person that knocked me,
Yeah,
eliminated me on day two. So I felt like it was, kind of fitting to put this match,
it's
and
certainly a fun one.
alongside the other reasons, of course.
Yes. Well, let's move on to your next of your three favorite matches, and another one here from 2024. And we're going to jump ahead to another one of our monthly finals. And this is, I think, the second or third monthly final. I think it's the second one here. You versus
Yes.
Ta. And once again, you fighting your way from the bottom. Let's start with this. Let's start with this question. Why did you pick this one as one of the matches you wanted to put in?
Oh, I take this one because because of the finish. It was really, really close at the end. And I think, yeah, this was the game one of the second set.
Hmm.
So it was, of course, important to win. And uh, I don't remember what was the score for this set, but if I think it was like 2-1. And so it means he won the second game. So I would have lost 0-2. So I think this because of the ending. It was
And
very
it's a great
close.
ending, but you know, I was very. This is before Evo Barrel. I know that Princess was getting to be pretty strong at this point, but was this choice basically because this idea that Princess was hard to deal with, or why were you choosing Bait in this matchup?
Oh yes, that monthly final, because of the Duchess meta, it was very, very broken. So Princess was very good because you can play at the bridge whenever you want, and whatever troops they use to counter it will just go ahead and die to the tower troop. So I spammed a lot of Princess decks that monthly final, minor decks, bait decks especially, and I think I had 100% win rate with Princess that month.
Yeah, you were definitely doing a great job with it. So I see that you're still, you know, obviously barrels are still being played here a lot. When it comes to this matchup, when you saw you were up against this drill deck, so log is there. There are some methods for controlling Princess at the bridge. How did you feel about the matchup when you saw it?
Yeah, well, I think it's not that good of a matchup for me because he also has the monk, and monk was used a lot in that meta too because of Duchess, since he can reflect the daggers and get like 300 damage on the tower, and then it's out of daggers. So it was difficult to like try not to let the monk pass the bridge. So I was able to do that a couple of times, but not every single time. I think that's what won me the game.
Yeah, I see that we're seeing the monk get some damage here. So you would say that was kind of the key feature would be controlling the monk and not letting it tank and reflect and accentuate the powers of the drill.
Yeah, exactly. You have to use like Tesla's high and then go knight at the bridge or goblins if they don't have login cycle, for example. There are like a lot of mind games for that, but you definitely don't want it to cross the bridge.
So I like when you start talking about mind games, right? So in this matchup, talk to me about some of the mind games that you were playing to get Ta off of his game.
Yeah, mostly like the mind games were like princesses in the bridges, right? Because the opponent probably knows you have it in hand, and they don't want you to get the princess damage. So they're like, okay, is he gonna drop it? Like, when is he gonna drop it? So sometimes you can react to the princess at the bridge, where you have to be really quick. And I think Khan was able to do that once in this game. But
I do
anyway, it's
see.
like the main, yeah.
I was gonna say I did see him just now playing that monk kind of high in the middle, maybe hoping to time your princess play. And you can see the mind games at work, right? He plays the monk high, the monk kind of gets wasted. The Evo Tesla comes out and controls for a moment, and so exactly what you're talking about, kind of in rhythm here.
Yeah, exactly. That's the main mind game in this matchup for sure.
So he's continuing to drill with the final 50 seconds. You're ahead by quite a lot. Are you pretty confident at this stage that this is game over?
Well, I was quite scared because I had used my Evo Tesla there, so it's difficult to block monks at the bridge without the Tesla. And I think that's what made it really close.
Yeah.
I failed to control one monk at the bridge, and I almost lost.
And that's I mean that's one of those wonderful things about Clash Royale, right? Is that one little miscalculation can change everything, right? It's a potentially very unforgiving game with some of those moments. So here we go. Final 15
Yeah,
seconds. The
this
monk gets
one
on.
is this
Wow.
one.
Yeah, the monk is reflecting. It's the poison's counting down. You're ahead, but he's putting so much on there. Now that princess, what was and I
Oh.
mean, let me go back and let me take this one back again so we can watch that. Yeah, you're going crazy. Let's let's go back here for a second. So this princess, was that just trying to pick up, like, to make sure that one of those last goblins didn't touch?
Yeah, I also didn't think that it would ever go on the tower because, yeah, of course, like he's gonna play something in the middle. So I thought about being more safe than sorry. If I was able to catch one goblin, then I would win.
And catch the goblin. And you see also the other thing here that's really interesting to note as we watch this ending another time here, kind of putting this on repeat, is the firecracker gets knocked back. You control it with the knight, and then he's not able to get. He plays the firecracker on the other side here, and I wonder if he was trying to maybe catch
Yeah.
something that, like, what was he trying to do? What was he trying to catch there? Maybe a Tesla?
Well, he was worried that I princess the bridge on the left.
Mm,
That's why I played it in the middle. But I think even if he tried to play on my princess,
the knight would have
like he
stuck.
didn't have enough time. He
Yeah.
didn't have enough time.
Well, either way, this was another big win and a big monthly final. And now I want to start transitioning to the last of the three like games that you chose, because the first two were from monthly finals this year, from those kind of wire tight moments. Which, I'll say this, Mo, that when we look at your overall body of work, yes, we look at a lot of domination. We look at monthly final upon monthly final, all these tournaments won. But seeing some of these games, some of these close games that you're talking about, it's not like we're always seeing like an easy victory. These are some pretty hard fought victories. Before we get into the last game here, how do you feel about your like where you are in the game and some of your overall like. Do you feel like this is easy for you? Do you feel like this is hard for you? How like what is your perspective on it?
Okay, well, yes, this is a good question because I often get upset, if I would win a competition, then people will be like, "Oh, he just won again." Oh wow, we're surprised, like that. It's not more like, "Oh, you played very good, like well played," because I think people get got used to it, so they think that it's easy, but it really isn't. Like all these wins, they're not easy at all, and I practice a lot, and I also this year I started learning how to deck pick
Hmm.
for myself because at Worlds, the player has to pick the game twos and threes. So I really put a lot of work, but so people because maybe they think I win a lot, so it's like easy for me, but it really isn't.
Well, let's talk about maybe one of the least easy moments, and as we go into our final career, and I really love hearing that insight, Mohammed. Let's take a look at the World Finals from 2023, which I think many people would say is your biggest moment, your biggest achievement, and very specifically, this is you picked from. I believe this is the second set between you and Morten, if I remember correctly, and no, this is the end of the first set, right? I'm trying to remember which
Yes,
game that
yes,
you.
yes.
Yeah, the end of the first set. You're up by one, and this game. It's interesting. This was I think this is a minor matchup, if I remember correctly. He's running Giant Skeleton. You're running the Skeleton King, and he kind of nods here. First of all, before we even get into that, let me back things up. Why did you pick? Let's start with why did you pick this game. Then I'm going to ask you about that opening moment.
Oh, like why did I pick this deck?
Why did you pick this game? Why is this the game you
Oh,
wanted to feature?
oh, yes, because well, this game I really like it because at some point in the game I did I guess some kind of outplay the Skelly King which won me the game, and I was really really nervous this match because well I was thinking like in the 2021 World Finals I was also in the final. And I was also in a similar situation like that versus Mugi. It was 1-1, and I was very nervous too, and I lost. I think I also had a good matchup. So I was like very worried that it would happen again because it's like the second next year
Yeah.
directly. So this match meant a lot because of this. So I was very relieved after I won this. And then
So
I was very confident for the second set.
you were. I remember a big difference, and I can see the look on your face here as we start this one. I'm going to back things up a little bit. I can see what you're talking about. The nervousness on your face. We're in game three here. I can see you kind of taking some big breaths, and then there are a couple moments. We're gonna take our time here. You cover with the bats. And I see that moment from Morten. I don't know if you saw that on his face where he kind of goes, what are you thinking when you're looking back at that, what are you thinking that he's thinking in that moment?
Oh yes, I know exactly why he did that because he told me afterwards that he was upset because he had Giant Skelly in his deck, but he told me he wanted to go for Valkyrie instead of Giant Skelly, but he changed it last second. And with Valkyrie, he
Mm.
would have had a way better matchup because, of course, Valk hard counters the Skelly King.
Yeah, that would have been a huge difference. So you're playing the Skelly King deck. It's game three, and I see Morten taking a pretty deep breath here, maybe kind of realizing what he's in for. Talk to me about the deck pick on this one. The obviously you with Miner is tremendous. Why in this moment did you go Mortar Miner?
Okay, well, at that time, I wasn't very advanced in deck picking, right? So I think everyone had a piece of paper thing to
Mm-hmm.
help them pick the decks. So I saw that I had this minor deck open, so I just went ahead and played it. That's about it, really, because I guess it's one of my comfort decks.
Yeah, you were feeling pretty confident at the moment. You get a really phenomenal. You get this. I'm going to back this up again. We're going to go a little bit more slowly through this game because of some of the big moments. You get this great lock on the left hand side. Get a couple of big shots. The miner gets in on the left hand side. Gets some early hits. So here we are. The first minute has been played. You're getting a couple of early hits in. I see you still looking fairly nervous here. What are you still nervous about at this moment?
Well, I mean, it's still the same reasons, right?
Yeah.
Even though I'm up on damage a bit, I was worried that maybe I slip up, like I do a misclick, because yeah, I'm nervous or something. I was kind of shaking at that moment still. I only got like a bit kind of relieved after I got so much damage with the skeleton push.
We definitely have seen those shaking moments at World Finals before. Another big World Finals moment for Morten against Surgical Goblin. We saw the hand shaking. It's different playing there on stage in front of everybody.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. It's uh, it's like another game. Like you were playing from the comfort of your home, then you go and play on the stage in front of people, then you're wearing a headset. Like it's just a completely different experience. But I'm happy that, I did quite well with the 2 times I experienced.
Oh yeah, and this is the biggest moment of the game, really. Talk to me about talk. I mean, he cycles his giant skeleton in the back. You let me go ahead. Yeah, so he cycles giant skeleton in the back on into his strong side. You get the perfect timing with the minor bats, and then you went all in here.
Oh yes, I remember this moment very well because like before this sequence started, he had played a miner on my tower, and I was about to play my bats on it, but I was scared that he would predict them with a snowball, so I snowballed instead. And that's what pretty much set up my whole sequence, because if
Hmm.
I had played my bats on the miners, then he was not gonna play his snowball, because I would just play a miner and just guard on it. He would have snowball for my ability. So me taking that decision, not playing my bats, pretty much won me the game.
Yeah, I mean that was absolutely massive, and you can definitely see the big difference now. As he's trying to control here in the middle, but you're playing Mortar Miner down by 1,300 HP, and you're still getting connections here, still getting tower damage. And I can see the difference, right? I can see you got a little smile going on. You're still nervous, but maybe a little bit more confident at this stage now that you're way ahead.
Yes, I was so happy when I got that connection. I
Now I saw a little moment there, just with kind of your eyebrows. I think right when that mortar and the skeleton king came down. Um, Obviously, you're way ahead here, but it is World Finals. Anything can happen. What was going on at that stage?
all I thought about was like defend, 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 and not do anything aggressive, nothing stupid. I guess just play defensive, like that defensive mortar right there, just miners here and there. But like of course you need to pressure a bit. You can't just sit and defend because like also offense is the best defense too. Like it's good.
So this raises one of the interesting things that we talk about with you a lot. People, what the questions we always get are like, why is Mo so good? And one of the answers that I give a lot is that I think that one of your top skills is to quickly evaluate the macro game. Right, you're very good at figuring out how a game will be won and lost, and then adjusting and sticking to that game plan in the middle of a matchup, in the middle of a game. That to me seems like one of your strengths. I'm kind of curious about your perspective there.
Oh yes. Well, how I approach like a matchup, I need to put myself in my opponent's shoes, I guess. I need to, of course, I need to know his deck first. Then I think like how he's gonna win, like how he's gonna try to maneuver through my cards, how he's gonna maybe outplay me, what possible plays he could make. So I keep all like these possible plays in mind, which also helps me in predicting my opponents, for example, placements, timing of troops or spells, stuff like that. So it helps a lot in playing, the matchup to put yourself in their perspective.
And I mean, that's really interesting to put yourself in their perspective. Maybe something that a lot of players don't, they don't have the wherewithal or don't think about the capacity to do in such a tight moment. And so we'll go here. We'll go look at the end as your big sigh of relief there as you get this one done and you know it's all over. And a big bit of nervousness from Morten knowing that he has to go and go against you again in a best of three. Obviously, the biggest emotions were when you won here, and it isn't a cut here to your mom, who I know I've met many times. She's been a wonderful supporter of yours. I have a really wonderful mug that she gifted me at our last World Finals. As we're kind of wrapping up some of our thoughts here, there are a lot of people I feel like that are in your support network. How critical has that been to your success?
Oh, yes. Well, especially my mother. She supports me so much. Like takes care of me in so many ways, like making sure that I'm eating good, that I'm sleeping nice and early, like be careful of my, maybe bad habits, like encouraging me to practice, giving me advice about people and stuff like that. She's always there for me, like in this game. She supports me a lot, and I think it's safe to say she's my biggest supporter. And well, she's really sweet, and I really love her.
Oh, it's mothers do a lot, and maybe don't get thanked for it enough. So I think on behalf of many, I will say thank you to Mama Light, and I'm sure that you express your gratitude quite well. Uh, this is Mohammed. I've really enjoyed sitting and kind of getting to think up to hear some of these thoughts. I think that people watching at home probably got some really good nuggets on your thought process and maybe some things they can incorporate into their thoughts. As we wrap up this video, I know that you've got a lot left to do this year. Already qualified for World Finals multiple times over. Thoughts on the World Finals field and what you have in front of you for the rest of this year?
Oh, like you mean how I'm gonna like prepare for the next event?
I mean, talking of, I'm sure you still have the monthly final kind of thinking ahead of you, but we're getting a lot closer to World Finals. You know a lot of the other World finalists. What are your thoughts on the collection of competitors this year, and how you're going to prepare for in these next upcoming months to get ready for your run at a second World Championship?
Oh, yes. One of the main points is something that I spoke about before, which is the deck picking aspect.
Hmm.
As I said, I've been solo practicing quite a bit this year. So, I pick my own decks. So I am hopefully getting better at, deck picking, which I think will be very, very important for Worlds because, of course, a matchup can help you win. Like if you have a good one, will be higher chance that you win it. So it is important. And also, this year I've been taking care much more of my health.
Hmm.
Like last year, I think I would maybe stay up at night, like 3, 4 a.m. and stuff, VCing with people. I think it's not very healthy and it does impact me. So I'm sleeping way more earlier, eating better, these kind of things. And also, this year is different from last year because I mean, hopefully, if everything goes to plan, I'll only have Josie as my coach for the whole year. But last year, well, it was me, Jibbos, and Alan. We're a team. But then, right before Worlds, well, some conflict of interest occurred, I guess, and Alan had to leave. So it was me and Jibbos, and it was like not very stable. But hopefully this year it will be different from a coaching perspective.
Well,
Hopefully
I
it'll be way different
Well,
than last year.
I wish you and Jules luck. I think that a lot of people would say that you might not need it, but as we've talked about today, This is about the hard work that you put in, and you've certainly put in a ton of it. So I'm very excited to see you once again at World Finals and see what I think is going to be a very competitive field. We need to wrap up the video. But this has been so much fun. For everyone who's watching at home, if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, like the video, let me know who you want to see next on this series. We've had Morten, we've had Mohamed Light, a lot of fun people to have on here. Mohamed, any final thoughts before we sign off?
Oh, this was a very cool experience for me to look back at my games and kind of analyze them and share my sentiments, I guess, my feelings through them. So it was a very nice experience and talking with you again, which is always nice, very friendly, and I had a very good time. And I hope everyone watching this had a good time as well.
Well, I'm sure they did, and I can't wait to see you again in person at World Finals later this year. Announcements coming fairly soon for those of you who are waiting to find out what the story will be for World Finals. Thanks again to Mo. Those of you watching at home, I appreciate you being here. As always, be excellent to each other and party on, dude. Peace.